This young man is going to astound you with his integrity, with his demeanor as a person, to battle through an illness and still produce incredible music that has taken all of England by storm and all English speaking countries. Rapping mightn't be one of your favorite genres, but I plead with you today to stay tuned to this story, because it's not just going to touch at the heartstrings. What he's about to do with the Verve retake of Bittersweet Symphony is absolutely incredible. I've done a special thumbnail in honor of him because it's with great sadness I report to all of the fans that have jumped on board and really taken this young man that's battling every day of his life, Ren, to their hearts. And I can understand why. At the moment, we have a lot of musical, as a musical reactor, I'm finding a lot of musical people battling illnesses, and they still perform, they still write songs, they still do amazing lyrics to the songs. And what he's done is kept the music but done his own story, almost a biographical looking at the lyrics. But we'll get into that straight after. His determination and resilience have earned him a loyal following, critical acclaim for his unique sound and heartfelt lyrics. He's defied the odds and proved that even in the face of adversity, creativity and passion can prevail. In conclusion, Ren Gill is a true inspiration to anyone facing challenges and obstacles in pursuing their dreams. His determination, resilience and passion for music have enabled him to overcome incredible odds and continue creating beautiful works that inspire and uplift audiences around the world. With his talent and courage, Ren is sure to continue making waves in the music industry and beyond. Now, people wanted me to react to I think it's Bio or Boy, B-O-I. And I said to them, I prefer to start on a lighter note, because a lot of people have reacted and they've done the tears and they've got the views and they've done all of that. Because for me as a musical reactor, it was very interesting for a band that I had followed religiously that he had done his retake of the Verve song Bittersweet Symphony, which was, in musical history, one of the masterpieces of all time. So I'm very interested to seeing this video in its entirety. I've got the lyrics coming up in this particular video, and I'll also add another 32 languages to my videos, which I always do, for my audience, because I'm Europop music all around the world, to collaborate and become involved with this young man and his mission to succeed in the face of diversity. He's a true inspiration for anybody with an illness. He truly is. And my heart has been broken over Celine Dion's, her illness that's also affected her muscles and her speech and her performances, and she had to step back from world tours. With 2023 starting off being in Canada for special medical treatment, I want to say this, Ren, my prayers are with you. I don't know you. I can only get to know you through your music. But looking at the lyrics of quite a few various songs that you've done, I'm finding it very hard not to choke up. But I don't want to be crying during this video, because that would be bittersweet. I'd much prefer if we just listen to your take on a masterpiece, with people informed of your condition, with people's prayers going to you because you're over in Canada at the moment, and we'll continue to support you. Musicians throughout the world need more support than ever. My prayers are with you. It's terrible when you have a disability, but it's even more inspiring when you can turn a classic masterpiece song around and make it your own. And that's what I think what you've done with this. I just know before I begin this, first time seeing it in its entirety. Looking forward. I hope you are too. Take it away, Ren.
I've got Dirt on my Reeboks from staying up all night. Spend my last £10 on this pack of Marlboro Lights. I phoned up Stevie, I said, G, you alright? He said, it's 6 in the morning, brother, get some shut-eye. I feel a sense of well-being this time in the morning. Wear my heart out of my hoodie while the city is snoring. Drunks falling off the sidewalks get issued a warning. Distant sirens, they crescendo like a symphony calling. This is the Britain I know, this is the Britain I love. There's poetry inside this city if you listen enough. Working class casualties out on the street sleep rough, while a mother with her baby takes her pram to the pub. And while she's knocking them down, the cost of living goes up. I can't relate to politicians with their head in the mud. I resonate with messy Fridays with the boy smoking bud. We do our bit to numb the struggle, as below so above, and as above so below. Here in the city we glow. I blow a smoke ring up to heaven and it makes a halo. And then the clock strikes 7, guess it's time to head home. My companion is the city, so I'm never alone. I'm stepping in and out of gaps of the pavement cracks, and if I go to sleep now, that's an anticlimax. People rise for work and the sun mirrors that. A perfect juxtaposition for those out on the lash. Bear with me, it's beautiful, I think it's irrefutable. There's beauty in a contradicting Britain, indisputable. Junkie in the cubicle, that old spoon is usable. His mother's in a black suit, crying at a funeral. 9 to 5 crucible, this route is not commutable. A kid falls off the tracks and then he serves a scratch at juvenile. Libby's at the Dollies, but her disposition's humorful. While Davy's at the bookies and his mates call him delusional. Britain, drink it down and moan about the weather. When the sun starts shining, feel the factor 10 tremor. Boys will be in it together until the fists start flying like they're Conor McGregor, and then he's out. I think he took it too far, I think the boy saw red, I think he hit him too hard. Now he's face down on the pavement with the face full of tar. Mad how small altercations can define who we are. That's my cue, I guess it's time to head home. It's bittersweet how my high found its way to below, and I've said it once before, as above so below. Living on the streets of Britain, you just go with the flow. But I'm done, I'm out for the night. As the sun paints the pavements, I'll turn out the light. White noise on the radio to quiet my mind. Always was an overthinker, just the way I'm designed. Britain, drink it down and moan about the weather. When it's all said and done, we'll be in it all together. Boys, we'll be like it forever. It's a bittersweet symphony, we're birds of a feather.
Ooh, I have to tell you, I welled up in that. I think partly because I was born in England, raised in Ellesmere Port outside Chester, and I missed it. I missed everything. And coming to Ireland, I just missed everything. The streets, the people, my school, everything. And it was a very bittersweet sympathy for me, and I related to the original masterpiece. But God, did you bring it up, Ren, to 2023 for people of the social media era, as I call it, the dynamics that's involved to bring a song like that to the ears of people to listen. Amazing. And when I see you in a video like that, I was welling up because I was thinking, there's really no justice in the world when somebody so talented, with so lyrically, can be suffering so much and is in hospital now in Canada needing our prayers, and our prayers go with you. He begins, I got dirt in my Reeboks from staying out all night. I spent my last £10 on this pack of Marlboro Lights. I phoned up Stevie, I said, gee, you're all right. He said, it's 6 in the morning, brother, get some shut-eye. He continues, I feel a sense of well-being this time in the morning, wear my head out of my hoodie while the city is snoring. Drunks falling off the sidewalks get issued a warning. Distant sirens, they crescendo like a symphony calling. This is very biographical. This is him because he can't sleep with the pain that he's suffering. This is what that disease does to you. It messes up your sleep hours. It's debilitating. You have breathing problems. You're stressed. You've got headaches. And I was making no comparison between migraines and what he's going through. Migraines elevate to many different levels. Unless you're a migraine sufferer, you would never understand what we go through. But I understand pain. That's what I'm saying. And a disability is something that holds you back in life, holds you back. And it's quite evidential here in the lyrics. he just goes outside. He walks them streets when he can't sleep. And he's frustrated and it's getting too much. He needs to take his mind off things. So he's out there with the homeless, sharing that experience and listening to the sirens that we never hear because we are sleeping. And I always say, thank God for one thing, that at least with my disability, I can sleep. I don't walk the streets. I don't feel I need to go out. In fact, bright lights would get to me. I need to be inside. But this is evidential that that's what's up with Ren. It is a bittersweet symphony that he's out there experiencing nightlife when most people he knows is sleeping, and he's out there in pain trying to deal with it and trying to clear his head and trying to just know what way he can go with life. So it continues, this is the Britain I know, this is the Britain I love, there's poetry inside the city if you listen enough. Working class casualties out in the sleep rough, while a mother and a baby takes her pram to the pub. And while she's knocking them down, the cost of living goes up. I can't relate to politicians with their head in the mud. I resonate with messy Fridays, with the boys smoking bud. We do our bit to numb the struggle, as below, so above. Below, so above mean heaven and earth. Straight away, you can see the symbolism in what happens. A lot of people, they drink until they can't drink anymore because they're not here. And it's true. As you know, a lot of young girls want babies, and yet they end up drinking that money they're getting to keep the child and the bit extra to make things easier for them down in the pub. It happens all over. Here in Dublin as well. Dublin is no different to England or any other city in England. And people say, oh, it's full of people, full of laughter. We have the same social problems. We have young girls. I remember an Australian saying to me, CC, is it normal to have so many young girls pushing prams? And it is. But I see a wave in the last couple of years where there's not as many as, let's say, there was 8 years ago, because times are harder, money is scarcer. A child, good God. But a child meant in many ways, you got your social flat, you got your bit extra money every week to rear the child. And if you're an addict, if you suffer alcohol problems, a lot of people end up in the pub spending that money, and the children stay at home, or they're being pushed around with nothing in their stomachs. It's an awful situation, and he reflects it very, very well here. And then on Friday night, it's all about smoking, a little bit of grass or whatever, and getting high, and just forgetting about the hell on earth and wishing it was more like heaven. So it continues, as above, so below. Here in the city we glow. I blow a smoke ring up to heaven and make it a halo. And that continues that theme and that symbolism. And then the clock strikes 7. Guess it's time to head home. My companion is the city, so I'm never alone. So he walks the streets. It's a daily routine. It's what he has to do. He's out there. He's stressed. His body can't take it anymore. And he's pushing himself through that mental stress when no one understands what he's going through. If you were looking at that video, let's be fair, everyone, you would never think in a million years he was suffering the way he is. And at this point in time when I'm making this video, he's in Canada, in hospital, battling. You'd never think it. But that's the mirror image he's had to probably portray to people. You can't explain it. You go on a roll, but nobody understands. So a bit of smoke helps. I always say, if it helps, take it. Bear with me, it says. It's beautiful. I think it's irrefutable. There's beauty in a contradicting Britain. Indisputable junkie in a cubicle, that O'Spoon is usable, his mother's in a black suit crying at the funeral. It's true. How many times has this young man ended up in the cubicles of the city that we wouldn't even walk into? And he's had to do what he's done, and he's just seen junkies everywhere. Junkies use toilets not just for, you know, people say those kind of toilets are used to pick up people. That's prejudgmental. Sometimes it's the warmest place they have to sleep at night. Think about that. And he's seen that with his eyes, probably at even a younger age than we can ever anticipate. So he says he's out. I think he took it too far. I think the boy saw red. I think he hit him too hard. Now his face is down in the pavement with a face full of tar. Mad how the alterations can define who you are. It's true. You know, you're out in the streets. There you are. But you all, whether you're homeless, whether you're not, whether you're coming from the pub drunk, you all end up in the streets. Everybody, the exodus takes place to go where you have to go then, thereafter. And what he's saying is, when you're low, everyone's low. When you're high, everyone's high. He's seen it. And he said, living on the streets is bitten. You just go with the flow. And he is living on the streets. Even though he's got a home and a roof over his head, he's living on the streets because he has to get out of the house. Because the walls close in with this disease. And he just has to feel a sense of openness. So where he goes, nobody else would go. He probably became streetwise at a far too younger age because of his condition. He says, I'm done. I'm out for the night. So when he sees enough, when he feels, you know, I can't take any more of this, I've exhausted myself mentally and physically, I've just got to work a little bit of energy, I know I've got to get home. Or he can end up in the streets in a very bad condition, be robbed, be knifed even today. And he knows he has to battle home now. That's his battle. I've done enough walking. I'm now physically exhausted and mentally exhausted. I just get home. And drink it down and moan about the weather he finishes. When it's all said and done, we'll all be in it together. Boys will be boys. We'll be like it forever. It's a bittersweet sympathy. We're birds of a feather. And I thought, you know, when he finished with this, I was thinking of the great classic comedy in England, Birds of a Feather. And I thought, no, is it a twist on that and a bit of comedy brought into this? Let's have, you know, we'll have the last laugh together. Or is it just we're birds of a feather, like we'll all fly together to the one place? And symbolic of that is very reminiscent in my head of the white dove that you released, not just at weddings, but at funerals. It's a life or death story of a young man taking us on a biographical journey through Britain in a rapping way that's both socially acceptable and something we need to take more of. This man is battling, but his lyrics are winning. Don't you agree? If you do, don't forget to comment, like and subscribe. I'd love you to join my channel. He's going to be featured a lot this year. He's got lots of great messages for all of you to listen to. Don't you agree? My prayers again are with you, Ren, in Canada, battling. They really are. Take care.